So in today's Active Directory seminar, first we'll focus on AD audit, AD self-service, and how to restrict password reset, and also how to configure your SSO for authentication. So you may want to ask, the agenda for today is limiting numbers of password reset requests and configuring SSO and MFA with AD self-service. Also after that, we will go straight to AD manager, where we will talk about the workflow and the automating workflow and multiple approval levels. And then we'll go to AD audit, where we'll see how AD audit can monitor your infrastructure, and also how AD audit can help you to secure your organization infrastructure, giving you real-time data of any issue that might happen in your organization, maybe file change, user login, and so many other features. I am your host today. My name is Barnabas Elogie. I'm a product support specialist in MWT. And what we're going to be talking today is, first of all, you may ask, so what is AD audit? AD audit, what is AD self-service? AD self-service is a service that gives your users the opportunity to reset their password for multiple factor authentication and single sign-on, which is SSO. It means that your users do not need multiple passwords across all their applications. What they need, it's one password that we connect to all different applications automatically. And we will jump into that once we start seeing the live demo environment. Also, you might ask, so what is the importance of AD audit? So why should I get AD audit? Number one, it reduces the workload of the technicians. So in a large organizations, technicians can be requesting to the request for reset password, for changing user details, or for changing user information might be overwhelming. Or the issue of multi-factor authentication might be overwhelming to the technical department. So what does AD audit do? AD audit help you to ease the workload for your technician. It secures your organization, which is protecting the organization against any threat, in a way that once you have this multi-factor authentication, it stops any unwanted or unauthorized user to log into the system or to log into the specific application. Also, we have that single sign-on, which gives your users and your technician the easy ability to log into multiple applications without creating multiple passwords. And because of one issue with security, is basically misconfiguration or maybe password. When your colleagues or your your users has to log into multiple applications to perform their work or to continue with the production of their day-to-day activities. Some of them might have the issue of forgetting this password, so they might tend to write them down. And writing this password down, this is also a security risk, because if an attack vector managed to get access to this information, they can easily get into the system, and then they can easily cause havoc to the organization. So with single sign-on eliminate this issue of writing your password down or having multiple passwords. With single sign-on gives you that flexibility to connect immediately to the application without jeopardizing the organization infrastructure. And also we talk about compliance. AD self-service gives you that possibility to be compliant with the different group like DORA, like NIS2 and GDPR and so many more. So what are we going to be seeing? What are we going to focus on today about AD self-service? The focus point will be how we can limit numbers of password reset requests and secure application by single sign-on or multi-factor authentication with AD self-service. So now we're going to go to the live environment where we would have AD self-service. If you have any question, you can put the question on the chat, and I will be available to answer those questions. So now we'll go to the live section. We'll log into the AD audit, and for this presentation we are using a fresh instance of AD audit, and also for this presentation we install a new server, and then using Hyper-V, and then we created an Active Directory from scratch just to show you how it works, how AD self-service works. So you can notice that the AD self-service doesn't have an secure connection, SSL, because we're not using HTTP at the moment, because everything is done from a laptop, and we are using a server, a fresh server that was installed, and a fresh Active Directory. So with this, we'll be able to see in real time when you have when you're using AD self-service, you'll be able to see in real time the on-premises and also the cloud, how it works on-premises and how it works on the cloud. So before I go straight to the information we have today, first of all, looking at the dashboard, of course we don't have much information because this is a fresh server. There is no much information, but you'll be able to see the Active Directory reports of which AD self-service is pulling directly from your Active Directory or from your cloud Azure or any other Google workspace that you are using. We have the numbers of users, a row, and it gives you a rich dashboard also with the password self-service report. So let's just focus on the target for today, limiting user password. So when we go to the configuration, we go to policy configuration. We can reset, we can choose what the user can use. So in this AD self-service, we are using MWT.local domain. So it means that the Active Directory is local, it's installed on the endpoint that we are using to in this meeting. So you can see that we can reset, we can give possibility for users to reset their password, unlock their account, self-update, meaning that the user can automatically update their information. Maybe they change address or maybe they change phone number. Instead of creating that request to the admin or the IT department asking, I changed my number, I want you to update it, they can do this directly from AD self-service. And also if they maybe forget their password, they can change their password. So in this policy, we are creating this policy which is already created here, but you can create multiple policy. So we create a new policy. Now in this policy, we can now define or restrict the number of what the user, how many password reset this user can have for a specific period of time. So when we go to advanced, here we can see that we have more functionality, more features to enable. So it tells you that block user failure identification. So it means that in this point, how many times does the user needs to enter the password? If the user entered the password more than the specific time, then we have to block that user automatically. That means it might not be the user, it might be an attack vector trying to use a brute force attack to log into the system. So we have, I would allow this user to be able to maximum to be able to try 3 times for invalid attempts. And if this happens, say the user tried 3 times and he could not get the password correctly, then I want to lock out this user for 3 minutes. I could change it, say, okay, in that case, I want to lock out this user for 30 minutes, just to make our organization more secured. So in this case, when there's a brute force attack and the user fails to enter the password correctly 3 times, the system locks that user out for 30 minutes. And this send a real-time notification to the administrator. This gives the administrator more time to investigate what is going on and able to. Good. You can hear me? Okay, good. And able to go on with check what is going on. And also, we can also decide, we can block the users for period of time, or we can just block this specific user forever. It means that, especially when we have maybe a super administrator account and there is a brute force attack on this super administrator account, we can set this for the super administrator. So when we have the user unable to enter the password 3 or 4 times or 5 times, as the case may be. So in this scenario, for the super admin, I would like to make it 6 times. So let's say after 6 times of trying to access the super admin account, and we know super admin account is one of the most important accounts because they have access to all functionality on the system. Then if the person fails, then I just want to block that account forever. It means that automatically that account will be blocked forever unless I decide as an administrator to open that account again. And then we have restrict self-service action. So we can also restrict the self-service of what the user, because AD audit gives you that self-service for you to be able to do your functionality by yourself, to reset your password. And so we want to restrict that self-service. So AD audit gives us that possibility. So here with the admin, we can configure it and say we want to allow the user to reset his password only 5 times based on our topic today. So we wanted to restrict this user for numbers of reset of password. So we can decide to say we want this user to only be able to reset his password 5 times within 7 days, a week, or we can say within 30 days. So if this user tries to reset his password more than 5 times, the system will block this user and will notify the administrator about the user. And the administrator can come in and check or investigate the issue. Also, we can also allow user to unlock their account only 10 times. So meaning if their account is locked, automatically after trying to reset their password and their account is locked, they can unlock their account. Let's say 10 times, or we can also reduce the number. We can reduce the number to 3 within 7 days or within 30 days. So this depends on our organization approach towards strict policy. Then also we have password reset blocks, where we can configure our password reset blocks, password synchronizations, we have notifications, and also we have automation. Because of our time, we had technical difficulties, so I will try to be very, very fast about this. Then after we make this configuration settings, we go ahead and then we create our policy. We save our policy, so we can save the policy. But in this case, we already have one policy here, so I'm not going to change it. So in this way, we are restricting and we are setting strict rules to protect our organization. Now, you might ask, okay, so how do we do with the SSO, single sign-on? So if this user has one account, if this user can log into multiple accounts of the application we have in our environment, and how do we go ahead to set this with AD self-service? The good thing about AD self-service is AD self-service gives you the option of single sign-on with a secure when the system is secured. So it means that the connection for a single sign-on has to be secure. This is mandatory for SSO, which is single sign-on. It means that there must be a secure connection. But with AD self-service also make it more easier for the technician or the user to be able to log into other devices, other applications, but it will let you know that this connection is not secure. And this is one of the good aspects that gives the AD self-service more functionality, because especially if you are using maybe an internal application in your organization which is not mainly connected to the internet, or you're using it within apps, you can also use this feature if you do not have an SSL. So for this presentation, we are not using any SSL certificate. We are not using any HTTP, so we are only relying on we are not using any HTTPS. We are only relying on HTTP. And if you can look at the menu bar on the top bar, you will see that it's saying this connection is not secure. So I prepared this because I wanted to show you so you can really see the power of AD self-service. Now let's go to single sign-on. With single sign-on, we can create a single sign-on application. I already created one, but we'll go into that. Before that, if you have any questions, you can add it on the chat, and I would check the chat a bit later to answer them. So with a single sign-on, we can add multiple applications. So I've already added one. I will speak about this, but first of all, I would like to show you how to add a single sign-on application. So AD self-service comes with the possibility to, from out of the box, possibility to use the single sign-on for more than 500, 600, 700 applications. And this gives you that flexibility to be able to use, maybe you want a single sign-on for the Windows Active Directory, for AD Manager, for AD Plus, ITSM solution, and so many more. You have that possibility to set the single sign-on. But in some case, you might be looking for the particular application, and it's not added directly to AD self-service from out of the box. So you can create a custom application. When you create a custom application, you need to add the application name, the domain name, the assigned policy, and then you can then add your single sign-on information. Yeah, we will get back to that when we do the integration for AD Manager. So if you take a look at this at the page, you will see that also AD Audit also gives you the possibility to, it's also categorize the products into different sections. So we have different products for ITSM solutions, customer service, CRM, and so much. So when we need to create a single sign-on, all you need to do is we select the application name, the name of our domain, and then we select the policy that we've added. So the policy which says that maybe the user can, we restrict the user for specific numbers of password is set, and so on and so forth, which I was just showing you. So we add the policy, and this policy will be enforced on that specific application, but will be enforced by AD self-service on that specific application. We add our ascension URL, our identity ID, and the name format if we want to use email address, we want to use domain authentication, and so on. We can set it this way. So let's go back to the already configured self-service for AD Manager Plus. So we just edit it so we can see how it works. So now you can see we have the application name. So in this case, I can give it the application name as whatever name I want to give it. So in this case, I'm giving it MWT Seminar. I can call it, maybe since it's application it's AD Manager SSL connection, I can call it AD Manager. So the name is basically, it does not restrict the user or the technician to a specific name. So the technician can use any name that he or she can basically remember or relate directly to. I added the domain. Then I added the ascension URL, which is very important. And this ascension URL you could get this ascension URL directly from when you go to AD Manager. So we are integrating AD Manager. So now I'm in AD Manager. We're doing the SSL single sign-on for AD Manager. So now I'm in AD Manager. I go to delegation, configuration, login, single sign-on. Oh, I have to sign in back, just a minute. Just give me a minute. I will try to go directly from just a minute, guys. Okay, so I would log in directly from this browser. Manager. Okay. So when we log into when we AD manager, we connect directly to the login single sign-on. We get that single sign-on details from AD manager, and we have to put those details in AD self-service for the single sign-on connection. So here we'll go to single sign-on. Now, this is the information we need to give to AD self-service to recognize AD manager. So it means that when we give this information, we'll be able to directly from AD self-service log into AD manager. So when we get the assertion URL, the entity ID, and some application also need SP logout. Some application doesn't need SP logout. So if we go back to our AD audit, our AD self-service, we'll see the same information here we've got, and then we can update the connection. Once we update the connection, it tells you that the connection is successful. So there's no update made. That's why. But once we update it, you see it tells you it tried to connect to AD manager, and also after updating, this is your IDP details. So it means that also it's not one way. We have to also include this a single sign-on certificate information from AD self-service to the application that we are also trying to link together. So in this case, we need the entity ID for this is for AD self-service, the URL login and URL logout. We need this, and then we can download the certificate or we can download the metadata, and then we go back to AD manager. When we go to AD manager, we can then upload this information, or we can just input the data, copy and paste, and test the connection. And once the connection is tested and successful, now we can then communicate directly from AD self-service to we can now manage the single sign-on from AD self-service. One fact about AD self-service is that AD self-service use HTTP connection, and this HTTP connection shows how AD self-service actually works. And without HTTP, you will get an error. But with AD self-service, it would let you know that there's an error, but still give you the opportunity to send the data through a non-secured network, or non-secured through a not secured channel. So let's now we've configured the AD self-service. Let's test and see how it works. So after creating this, I will log out and log in as AD self-service user. And if you notice, that when I enter the name, automatically AD self-service recognize that this is no longer a local AD self-service authentication. It's now a domain authentication. So this is also one of the good features of AD self-service. Just a minute. So now we've logged in as a user, and this user has administration privilege also, but you'll be able to see now that this user in AD self-service can make changes based on our policy that we created on the AD self-service from the admin panel, which I just showed you. And then you will see, let's go to self-service, meaning that this user can basically basically update its information, maybe phone number, any information this user can basically make changes to it. The user can reset the password based on our based on the policy that we created, and these are the policies that were set. This user can enroll. Now, since we've done that single sign-on certificate, single sign-on for AD manager, now we can now check and see the connection. Because the connection is not secured, we will get a failure. But when we change the port number to use the AD self-service, then AD self-service will still send that through a unsecured connection, because AD SAML, or you call it SSL, SSO, on single sign-on, needs HTTPS, which is a secure connection, a certificate to communicate. Now you will see the application that we registered, which is AD Manager. When we add those information, you find the application here. So when we click on it, we'll get an error because we are not using trying to look for this HTTPS address, but unable to see it. So what we need to do is, because of this seminar, we did not use any certificate. If you look at the certificate here, it's looking for HTTPS. But in this case, we want to redirect and ask it to use the AD self-service information itself, AD self-service port. So we'll use the AD self-service port. But once you have this certificate in your organization and you add your certificate, automatically it will be able to connect directly. But because of we don't use certificate, so it would give us an error. And when we change the port, it will also tell us that this is not secured. So because this you're trying to submit is not secured, do you want to continue anyway? So it's giving us a warning. So in this case, I want to continue to the AD manager, and because we don't have this SSL certificate, we will get an error. But when we click on the home, it will take us to AD manager. So you can see it's telling us the certificate is not secured, so we need an SSL. But because of this webinar, we try to make it so you can see both how the solution works without an SSL certificate and with SSL certificate. Now you can see that automatically we've used the AD self-service to log into the AD Manager Plus. And if you take a look, you will see the user, which is Vicent, which we just added. So this gives us that easy access to access multiple applications. But the requirement is that we need a SSL certificate or a secure connection, which is HTTPS. So without the HTTPS, AD self-service can also use its own port to send the data through a non-secure network. I think we can take a 5 minutes break, and I will go to the comment section to answer your questions. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, thank you very much for the time, and once again I would like to apologize for the technical issues that came up before the start of the webinar. Can you hear me? Okay. Now, so we'll go straight to the AD manager, and we will see what AD manager can do. But because of our time and we've used most of the time to rectify the technical difficulties, I will try to be very fast about this AD manager, and then we'll go to AD audit, where you will see the real work of AD audit and how AD audit can help your organization to protect you from different set of attacks. Also with AD manager, we'll still be using the same server that was created on the endpoint, and also the Active Directory that was created on the endpoint. And what are we going to be doing today? Maybe you might ask, so what is AD manager? AD manager is a web-based application that helps you to manage your Active Directory. AD manager gives you that easy access to make changes in your Active Directory. So I will give you an example. So with the traditional Active Directory, if you want to create multiple users, let's say your organization created a new department, and they are employing, like for example, 50 users. It might be too much work for the technicians, or maybe let's say they are employing 500 users, depending on the growth of the organization. It might be too much work for the technician to start putting those information step by step. Also, with AD manager, you have the possibility to assign workflow to various departments. So let's say the HRO, the technical department, the finance department, and so many other workflow you can automate. So let's say when you create this, you have 200 people coming to the new department. It will be too much work to create users. But with AD manager, if you're going through the traditional way, then you have to do this through the SSH, through the PowerShell. You have to write a code, upload this CSV file to PowerShell, and you have to have that technical knowledge to be able to do this. But this is where AD manager comes in. With AD manager, it gives you that simplicity to be able to make changes effortlessly to your Active Directory. What are we going to be talking today? But you might ask, so why do I need AD Manager Plus when I have a technician who can use PowerShell for some specific script? The main thing is, with AD Manager Plus, it comes with multiple scripts that your technician can use to run specific function in the Active Directory. It gives it reduce the workload of your technicians or administrators, in that way making them more efficient in productivity. Also, it increases efficient accuracy, it ensures security and compliance, and also it gives that integration possibility. So like we just saw with the single sign-on, if you have to do that in the traditional Active Directory, that might give the technician multiple issues trying to resolve single sign-on for traditional Active Directory. But you might say, so does that mean AD Manager Plus is replacing Active Directory? No. AD Manager Plus is only simplifying the operation and making it easier for you to be able to use your Active Directory efficiently. So we will go straight to we'll be going straight to the demo environment. We're still going to be using the same application, the same solution. Just a minute. So we're still going to be using the same environment for this presentation. So what are we focusing on today? We are focusing on creating workflow to see how workflow works, automation works in AD Manager Plus, how multi-level approval in AD Manager Plus works. So this is a good features in AD Manager that reduce work stress and improve work efficiency for your technicians. So we'll go straight to the live demo, and I will show you how basically it works. Yeah, so in the live demo, as you can see, we were currently logged in as Vicent, which in our last presentation for AD self-service, through the AD self-service. In this case, I will need to log out and log in as the administrator. Manager. We can use this. So we can log in as the administrator. So you can see when we try to log into AD Manager, because AD self-service single sign-on has been connected, it always asks us to go to AD self-service, and then from AD self-service we can now go through the AD Manager. This is also the good security features because we can enforce this, or in AD Manager we cannot. Sometimes we can enforce it, or sometimes we can just not enforce it. This is because this is also based on our organization requirement. This is based on our organization requirement. Just give me a minute. We'll go through. Okay, we'll use this instead. Okay, as admin. Okay, so we'll use this browser instead. Okay, we go. Now, when we talk about workflow, business workflow can involve the requester, the reviewer, and the approver and the executor. So it means that workflow comes with multiple users that are going to be creating certain configuration. So in this case, let's choose. Let's go straight to workflow. So I'm going to start from scratch, but I'll try to be very fast. We can create a new user. a new technician for the workflow. So in this case, let's have a scenario that we want to onboard. We want to create onboarding for users. So in this case, we can choose to create a new technician. We can choose directly from our Active Directory, our domain, or we can use the AD technicians, which we've created. Also, we can import from domain directly to AD Manager Plus. We'll select our technicians. So in this case, I will select this technician from the Active Directory, from our domain. And we'll select what role we want to use. So this is where it gets interesting. With AD Manager Plus, it gives you, if you are choosing your domain, you only have the possibility to request or review. You can request for make a request, or you can review a request with your domain. Only technicians that are registered directly to AD's manager have the possibility. So we'll take the same user. Okay, in this case, let's say we want Vincent as a technician. Have the possibility to approve and execute specific request. So once we create this user, in this case, I will not go on to create the user because this user has already been created. We can just go to see more information about this user. You can see this user has been created. The domain name, we give this user access to all OUs, all organization unit, and we set this user role, what this user can do. We will get to this role in a bit. We can choose from this. Then we assign a template. We can give this user a specific template, or we can let this user has multiple templates for creating requests. In this case, I will let him have more templates. Now let's talk about requester role. So before we assign a role to a user, after creating the user, we can create the role. So we create the name of the role. In this case, I will call it new user for let's say finance department. So I'm giving this user this role to be able to create new users for finance department. So what I want, the permission I want to access, I want to give to this user, I just want to give this user permission for creating user and bulk user. And maybe we can also give him permission to create groups. But we don't want to give him more further permission. Or in this case, we can say HR. So meaning that an HR can create a request, say we want to onboard new user. So in this case, we create this user, this role, we save it. Now let's create a new user in the Active Directory. Let's create a new user. So in this case, first of all, I would like to show you with how, because we are using everything in the Active Directory, to show you how AD Manager works in real time. I would just try to create a new user for you to see, and we will check this directly from the Active Directory. So in this case, we just maybe give this user, let's say, Johnny. We give this user Johnny. Last name, let's say, Lob. And then we can define what this user can login name. So in this case, I will take the login name, just create this user. We can then create the password for this user. Let's say password should be we can decide how long this password would expire, or we don't want this password to expire. We can say user must change password upon next login. But in this case, because of our time, we don't want to allow this. We just want to keep this password. Then I'll go ahead. No need to add more information of this user. I just to show you how it works in real time. We'll go ahead to create this user. Now we can see that Johnny Loeb has been created. So if we go straight to our server, we'll get straight to our server and we'll go to our Active Directory. We'll go to our domain controller and then to user. We'll find Johnny Loeb already created. So it means that in real time, when you make changes when you create a user or make changes in the AD manager, in real time, that user is being created in Active Directory. So now that we've created this user, we want to make this user a requester. So we want to make this user a requester. We go to workflow. So in workflow, we choose workflow technicians, and we'll create new technician. In this case, we want to choose the domain of our local AD, Active Directory, in our server, which I was just showing you. And we choose the domain. We choose the technicians, and OU. Requester. Okay, yeah. So you can see we have Johnny Loeb. We have Johnny Loeb here, which we just created. I will make him as a requester because we want him to request for this workflow. And then we choose, because we are using directly from the domain, is not a technician, it's just a user. So it might be Johnny Loeb might be working in the HRO department, and we want to give him that access to be able to create a request. So in this case, I will choose, I want to make Johnny a request, and I want to give him access to all the OUs. I can specify which OUs I want to give him access to. And if you check this, this is my active, this is my domain controller. But in this case, I would leave it so all. I will select the HRO which we just created for users, and then I will assign this role to this user. So meaning that this user is working in HRO, and I assign the role permission for him to be able to create users and group, to request users and group. So I go ahead and save this. Then I will go to my business workflow, which we were just talking, which is part of our communication today, part of our meeting, part of our requirement. Now I can add the name of the workflow that I want, and then I add a description if I want to add that, but we already have a workflow that we can use. So we'll be using seminar 1 as the workflow, or we'll be using, okay, let's create a workflow. So I will call it today seminar. I configure the requester. So I can select who I want to be requester. I can configure the requester. So in this case, I want Johnny Loeb to be the requester. Oh, just a minute. Yeah, so you can see Johnny Loeb is already a requester, so we can go ahead. Now we can select reviewer. So let's say we can choose how many people want to review. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can choose multiple reviewer. We can choose let's say in this case, let's choose multiple reviewer, 2 reviewer. Let's say in this case we want to choose multiple approver. Let's say 2 approvers, and executor. Each one, one technician has to execute it. So just to recap, requester, reviewer, approver, and executor. So in this case, we can also, maybe we don't need this much workflow. We can also just, if we don't need a reviewer, we can disable reviewer and we just say requester, approver, and executor. Or if we don't need approver, we can basically just do this. So in this case, I would take just approver and executor. I will name my workflow today's seminar, and I will create my workflow. So our business workflow has successfully been created. If we refresh, we'll be able to see it. Anyway, if we go to assign, we'll be able to find this the workflow that we set. Now we can create a new rule for this workflow. So when we create a new rule, we select the name of the rule, we add description, the business workflow. We can add our business workflow. I think that we did not save that, but I will choose seminar, which is already configured. We add our business workflow, and we can create our new rule. We can call it AS1, and then we set our criteria. So I can say action, I can choose set my criteria, multiple criteria. So I can say action is my action. What I want is to create user and bulk user. Also, we can use a domain name. So we can say if domain name is this, but also we can use just name. So let's, for example, want to use requester name, and we choose the requester. Johnny is our requester. Then we want to add more functionality. We can add and action is maybe our action, our purpose is to create new users. We can go ahead and add like that. And then we'll see the creation process, the reviewer process. The reviewer process, we can name it. Okay, we want to choose the technician that we want to review. In this case, we say Vicent. And then we can see our approver. Our approver we can choose. Because of our time, I will not go ahead and keep making this configuration. But if you look at the workflow that we choose, it says requester, one reviewer, and two approver and one executor. So I will sign out and I will show you how this can actually work. In this case, I'm going to be using this user to sign out. Sign out as an administrator. And before signing out, we need to So as well as we're talking about the single sign-on, we can also enforce it, or we can be lenient about it, meaning that the user can, I wanted to show you before I sign out, meaning that the user can use his password, or we can enforce the single sign-on. So we can enforce it. If we enforce it, meaning that all user has to go through the single sign-on process. But for this case, you can decide not to enforce it, meaning that they can use single sign-on and also they can use their own password. In this case, I will just do this because of our time. And I'll try to get the login of these users. Modify user. Okay, so maybe in this case we use this user for the login, and I will sign out. So after signing in as this user, you'll see that this user will give him only the request possibility for him to make a request. So you can see that now the AD manager for this user only have the access to create a request. So this user can create a request and can view any upcoming request or any created request. It can view the status of the request. So in this case, we'll create a request for this user. And before I show you creating the request, based on an advantage, you could ask, so why do I need to create to use AD Manager Plus, since my technicians can use the traditional Active Directory? So with AD Manager Plus, you can create a bulk user. I could show you how you can create a bulk user, because with the traditional way, you have to go through PowerShell and you have to write a code. But with AD Manager Plus, all you need to do is to create a bulk user. You add the CSV file. Bulk user and import. So yes, it gives you that easy and efficient way to create your users, to manage, to make edit, to make a certain functions, to make certain command, lock account, open account, and so on and so forth. So this is how AD Manager gives you that easy access to do work, reducing the workload of the technicians or reducing the workload of your users. So you can see the bulk user creation. You can see we have up to 100 users. If you take a look from 1 out of 100, so 100 users. So when a technician wants to create multiple users, they might find it difficult and challenging to create multiple users. But when they have this user's information, you upload it directly, and AD Manager would then do its work and then prepare the bulk updates. Instead of using the traditional PowerShell to do this, it makes it more easier to do this. But our goal today is to create user. To create a single user and see how the workflow goes. So in this case, I will create a user request. I'll create a user request. I could call it maybe onboarding. We can give any description, and then maybe we add the name of the user. Let's say WWE, the user last name PPO. We can choose maybe a random password for this user. We can say, okay, use the same as login, and then because of our time, let's just create this user request. So now you can see that this user requests have been created. When we click on this to see more details, we'll be able to see detailed information about the request and the next level approval. This is the information. View work. If you view workflow, you see the next. It's been sent to Vicent. It's been sent to Vicent because we choose Vicent as the approver. Now, Vicent has to approve this before it will be sent to the next person. So in this case, we can log out. We can log in at Vicent. And then Vicent will be able to review this request. So when Vicent goes to workflow, he sees that he has one request that needs to be approved, onboarding. So we can basically Vicent can click and review because he is a reviewer. He can click this and then review this request. So if after reviewing and everything is okay, you can go ahead to say reviewed. Okay, you could write any comment and then save it, and automatically this will go to the next person for the workflow multiple level approval. So if you take a look right now, if we check the workflow one more time, you will see that Vicent has approved, has reviewed it. Now it's been sent to the admin to approve this request. So the admin has to approve this request for this request to be executed. So in this case, I will log out and log in as the admin. Apologies, the system is a bit slow, but log in as admin. Now you will see that the admin can see that he has a request waiting for him to approve. These are other requests, but you can see we have the onboarding waiting for him to approve. now the administrator can approve it. And if you remember clearly, when we create this workflow, for the approver we choose two approvers. So that approvers we choose the admin and the manager, meaning that the admin can also approve this, the manager can approve this, but for this I gave the admin super administration right, meaning that he can approve for the manager as well. So the admin can approve this, say everything is okay, or whatever comment he wants to write, he can approve this. And as a super admin, it also let him know that you still have one more approver. This approver, when I was choosing it, I choose the manager can approve it, but also we made this user a super admin, so that means he can also approve instead of the manager. So in this case, I'll go ahead to approve it. Okay. And now we've gotten to the stage of executing. So if you see, we have the various stage: the requester, the reviewer, the approver, and the executing. And the executing, we are using the administrator as an executor. So after approving, it will still have to execute this workflow. So you can see the information here. Now it's been approved. Now it has to be executed. So when I execute this, meaning I have added this user to the Active Directory. So I can say execute immediately. I can choose execute in 30 minutes is specific time or day, but in this case we'll choose immediately. Okay. And now the user will be executed, and this user will be added to the Active Directory. So we can see the complete workflow communication of this. And if we go back to the Active Directory, because of our time, I will not have time to go back and show you, but if we go back to our Active Directory from our server, we will be able to find this user has been created. So this gives us that multiple level approver for user, not just only user, for different stuff, group, for totally managing our Active Directory or our agile cloud-based solution, as the case may be. And also, before we finish this, because of our time, we can also talk about automation. Automation gives you that you can automate your activity or the specific functionalities that you want to create. Let's say you want to create multiple users. You can also automate that. Because of our time, I will just run through it. So in this case, I can choose I want to automate users or computers or group, or create automation, my own specific or contact automation. But in this case, I will choose create users. I will choose the tags. So in this case, I want to create users. I will choose the template. I will choose the template, but I will just go with this. I can choose the template, but I will go with the system template, which already been set. And now we need to put the location of the CSV file. So in this case, when we go to the location where this file is located, We input the file, and we choose execution time. We want this hourly to run, we want this daily to run, we want this monthly. We can customize this. There are so many variables of automation that we can create, maybe user locked account or offboarding users or onboarding users, and so many. Also, we can add our enable notification if we want to receive notification when this automation has been carried out. We can save, or we can save and run. Because of our time, I will not be able to show you more of the system for AD Manager, but AD Manager has more functionalities to manage your Active Directory. Also, with this automation, you can also implement the business rule, meaning that you can have multi-level approval for this automation as well. Before this automation will get to the final stage, if you have multi-level approval, if you are implementing the business workflow, then every tester, every reviewer, or maybe approver and executor has to receive this automation and approve it, and then it will go from one stage to the other. Because of our time, we would have 5 minutes break, and we would jump back to AD Audit. AD Audit is a powerful solution for monitoring your AD activities, and also is being used a lot by most cybersecurity companies. We'll be back. Let's have a 5 minutes break. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the webinar. We are in the last part of the webinar, and we'll be talking about AD audit. AD audit. And you might ask, what is AD audit? Just as the name implies, auditing your environment. So it means Active Directory auditing. So AD Audit Plus. AD Audit Plus is a real-time Active Directory auditing and reporting solution. It's a web-based solution. And what does this do? It helps you to monitor your login, your file changes, your group changes, AD modification. It not only do that, it also help you for threat management, meaning that it helps you to check if there is if your environment is secured, if there's any threat like ransomware, brute force attack, or like a man in the middle, or we have IP flooding, and so many other attacks. AD audit gives you that possibility to be able to check if your organization is secured or not. And based on this, most cybersecurity companies are also using AD audit for monitoring their entire infrastructure, not just AD, but also network infrastructures to monitor the security of the network infrastructure, like firewall and so on, file changes, and so on. It also lets you know if there is suspicious activities that is being carried out in your environment, and it helps you to to stay compliant to the different regulation. Okay. AD audit also comes with more functionality like UEBA. Like UEBA, we call it user and entity behavior analysis. During the live demo, I'm going to show you how UEBA works. And then you might ask, so why do I need AD audit? With AD audit, using the native auditing might be so complex or might limit your auditing possibilities. But with AD audit, what do you get? You get in real time changes, critical changes, minor changes. Real time, if there's any trouble in your environment, any attack, you get in real time this notification. AD audit gives you in real time. AD audit does not prevent an attack, but it tells you that an attack is coming, or an attack, or a brute force attack is at the door. So this is one good functionality of AD audit. It gives you detailed reports for auditing and compliance, maybe for the GPRO, for the HIPAB, the DORA, the NIS2, and so on and so forth. And also incident response workflow. With incident response workflow, when there is a certain incident, AD audit can also respond, especially maybe we have, like, for example, maybe there's a brute force attack, and they keep trying to log into a particular use a particular user and login information, and keep the brute force attack keep coming and coming and coming. AD audit can monitor, can inform you in real time, and also add an extra script, which is an extra layer to protect your organization, to deactivate that account or block that account, or if possible, create an incident ticket, so a ticketing system. So when you have a ticketing system, let's say you have ServiceNow, ServiceDex, Jira, so you can also create a ticketing system reporting this issue, so the technician can also maybe receive this ticket and respond to this ticket. So AD audit gives you that much flexibility and functionality. AD audit in AD audit, you can define what you want to monitor. So this is what we will show you how you can monitor your entire Active Directory, because in this seminar we are focusing more on AD, Active Directory. So we'll be focusing more on AD and how to respond, how to monitor your Active Directory, your OU, your GPOs, and your users, your computers would show you in the live demo. With that, let's jump into the live demo. But what are we focusing on today? What we're focusing on AD is to show you how you can really have the AD visibility in your organization. So Active Directory object visibility, meaning that your OU, your organization unit, which is your OU, your GPO, your users, your computers, you can really see the real visibility of what is going on, who logs in, what time, when was the last login, and so many other features that AD audit packed. So with that further ado, let's jump into the live demo, and we can show you how AD audit works. So for this demo, because we will be using the Manage Engine, demo, because the server, our server, had very little information, and with that information we cannot really show you, because it's a fresh server. We created a fresh local server and a local Active Directory, so there is no much information to show you. So we are using the demo that has been used to show you the activities. So because the demo has much features, much functionality, much different type of attacks, so you can see what you can expect from AD audit. From the dashboard, you'll be able to get a complete visibility of your entire organization infrastructure, your object classes, your user management, your GPOs, your local login failures, so you can see the last 7 days, the last 30 days, the last login failures. It gives you a very, very rich graphical interface on the dashboard for the technician to easily have an access. And also you can see on the right hand side we have the critical, trouble, and the attention. So with AD audit, it also tells you when there is a critical change has been made to your organization, and it will tell you that it will give you an alert, or maybe there's just trouble issue that required your attention but not so urgent, and so on. But because of our time, our time is fast spent, we will just go straight to our focus for today. Our focus for today is to create a profile for the visibility of Active Directory component when we are monitoring them. So we go to configuration, and in that configuration we can then create our profile. Just a minute while it's loading. Apologies for the delay. This is the live demo and it's being used all over Europe by technicians, so it might be a little bit slow for the live demo, but when you have this product in your environment, the product works very, very fast. Okay, we can just go ahead and create a new profile instead of waiting for that information to come up. So here we can create our profile, maybe give it a profile name, say monitor AD, and we can choose what severity we want to measure. So let's go for the critical ones. So we can have multiple profiles. We can add our description, and then let's go for the critical, and then we can then choose what we want to monitor. Is it we want to monitor reports, profile, or we want to monitor our GPO? So if we choose our GPO, in our case, we choose our GPO, we select our domain, and then we add the GPOs that we want to monitor. Just close some applications. So when we add our GPOs, we can specify exactly what we want to monitor. The demo is a little bit slow because of it's being used by multiple users, so I apologize for that. So when we add our GPO, we can basically monitor various components, maybe monitor the users, the computers, OUs, objects, and can monitor our entire organization AD. Wait a minute, we take this and put it to the next browser. Configuration. Okay, so here we go. So here we can see the different profile that has been created. Just we need to create our own profile. So here we had the name of the profile, we had the information or any description we want to add. Here we can choose attention, trouble, or critical. So in this case, I will take critical. We can choose to get a report from the entire AD or our entire organization infrastructure, or we just, in our case, we are just focusing on the Active Directory, which is the AD. So I will take the GPO. I will select my domain, and then I would add the what I want to monitor. So in this case, I can monitor the default domain controller, or I would want to monitor some specific elements. So in this case, I will go ahead to monitor the default domain controller. I click on OK. If there's a critical issues, I can have this message. Yeah, I can also edit this message to suit me, but also this message will be sent to me and letting me message alerts. Also, I can enable email to get real-time updates, If I don't want real-time update, I can enable SMS. I can then execute a specific script. So I will give an example. So let's say when there's a brute force attack and in a specific account, and I get this notification, I can add a script that when there's a brute force attack and maybe AD audit notice this brute force attack and send in real time, I want to execute a specific I want this specific function to be executed to automatically lock that account. So this gives you the possibility to do that. You can add your script here, and in this case we don't need it. And also you can configure your auto tracking ticket, which is your response. So if, let's say in this case I want, when there is an issue or when AD audit notice an issue, I will give an example. Let's say the firewall is down, and AD audit see there's a changes in the firewall or the firewall is not responding, then I want you to automatically create a ticket. But in this way, I will have to configure the ticketing system. So let's say, for example, I will have to configure the system. If you're using ServiceNow or you're using the Manage Engine Service Desk ticketing system or Jira, you can then configure this with AD Audit Plus. So you see we have ServiceNow, we have Manage Engine Service Desk, we have Zendesk, and so more. If you need more, you can add more functionality. All you need to do is to add the domain, the name, the password. You can test the connection. Once the connection is right, then basically you can create that spontaneous ticketing response where the user would receive the where the technician will receive that ticket about maybe a firewall is down or this, and this will automatically be created, and this makes it more efficient to let's say the firewall is down or the firewall is not responding or a fire has been changed, for the technician to take action immediately to investigate that specific incident response. Then after creating your profile, you can see the different profiles that have been created. We can just choose one. Okay. And here you see more information regarding it. You see the filters, the business hour rule, and the threshold. So you can set your threshold for notification based on the alert. So you can say maybe you don't want specific, you don't want to get email every time about a specific event. So you can set numbers of events reoccurring within specific numbers of minutes. Then you can then decide what to do. Maybe open ID, event, USB user, and so many other functionality you can use at this point. In a scenario, I can also see numbers of events, since we are using a brute force attack. So maybe numbers of events occurring in 5 minutes, maybe the numbers of brute force attack occurring in just 5 minutes. Then we can take some specific action. Also, we can create a filter, and we can use this filter to also configure our threshold. This gives us the real visibility for us to be able to monitor Active Directory. Because of our time, I won't be taking much time in this configuration aspect. So after configuring our profiles, we can create multiple profiles. So as you can see on the configuration, you can see multiple profiles that has been created. So we can create so many multiple profiles for LDAP, for Agile, password modification, for disable users, auto lock, and so many password expired, enabled, and so many profiles that we've created. Then we can go to Active Directory. And by the way, with AD audit, you can monitor multiple, even cloud-based. But we are focusing on Active Directory because of this seminar. But you can monitor Active Directory if you're using on-premises, if you're using cloud-based, file server, file audit, server audit, endpoints. You can monitor your endpoints. Also AD backups. You can also monitor your AD backup, analytics, alert, and so on. So when we go to our Active Directory, since we are focusing on Active Directory, if you take a look at the Active Directory, you can see our auditing. We can check user login report, user logon reports, user log off reports, ADFS audit, account management, and so many other. Also, because we choose the default group policy, we can also monitor our OUs, recently created OUs, modify, delete, and so on. We can see recent computer that was created, and so on. We can get all these auditing files. So it simplifies the entire organization auditing process. AD audit simplify it, and also gives us alert at real time, so we can see the creating of the computer, the account, the username, the domain that this computer belongs to, numbers of events for this computer, and so many other much information. Who logged in, when the person logged in, and so many others. We have multiple information about this specific endpoint. So not just only computers, you have your total organization. AD is being monitored by AD audit, and it gives you that possibility to see if there's any changes, if there's any modification, if there's any threat relating to your organization. But you might be asking, how do I know that maybe I'm having a ransomware, or maybe a brute force attack, or maybe there's a man in the middle attack in my organization? How do I know? How does AD audit know this functionality? So here we come to Attack Surface Analyzer. So if you look at AD audit, it also have auditing and attack surface analyzer. If you go for the cloud directory, it's the same thing. You also have auditing and attack surface analyzer. The same for file auditing, server auditing, and so on. So let's see. But since we are focusing more on AD Active Directory, we'll go to the attack surface analyzer, and here we'll be able to see the different threats to our organization, and we'll be able to know what to do next. So if you take on the dashboard, you can see the threat by severities, threat by categories, and you get more details, graphical information, user, active user, numbers of threats that our organization have seen so far. So you have this auditing event and so on. Also, we have how many endpoints AD audit is monitored. So you can see it's monitored 26. From the monitor, it has 26 threats to the endpoint. We can search for the threats, for a specific threat. So let's say there is a notification that there is a threat. We'll be able to see the different threats and what it's associated with. You can see suspicious process, or maybe security log killer. So all these are threat names that can affect your organization, and it tells you the severity, if it's high or low. So it gives you that functionality to be able to monitor and keep your organization safe. we have the different threat profiles, and you have the different type of threats. You have the raid attack, the Kubernetes attack. You also have security log killer and so many more attacks that you can check what is going on in your organization. Also, you can also see ransomware, so we can also check if there's a ransomware attack in our organization. So you can see that we've already had 13 ransomware attacks, and you can see from what account it's coming from and the user name that it's coming from. You can see we have the brute force attack detection for users, for password, so we can check and see. Maybe we receive a notification that there's a brute force attack. We'll be able to see the brute force attack, the account, the machine name, and we're able to get more information about this. AD audit gives us so many flexibility. And also, as I was explaining, because of our time, I think we're far gone. Because of our time, I was explaining about the user behavior, user entity behavior analysis, which is UEBA. AD audit gives you that user analysis UEBA features. So you might ask, so what is UEBA? What is user behavior analytics? What does it mean? So this means that I will give you a scenario. Let's say Mr. John is working for Tele, and Mr. John starts his work from 10 a.m. and finish by 5 p.m. every day. And for some reason, Mr. John tried to log into the his account, his company account, outside work period. So let's say from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning. This is an abnormal behavior of Mr. John. So AD audit automatically record the normal behavior of a user constantly. So it basically tracks the user behavior when the user is always logging in, maybe logging out. It tracks the behavior, and also if you notice that the behavior of this user change, now it's now become an abnormality. So it means that there's something wrong. Why does this user behavior change? Or why does this computer behavior change? Or why does this file behavior change? So behavior analysis analyze this to also give us possibility to reduce the risks in our organization. So you can see on the usual activity summary. So we can use this, for example, user login. Okay, we don't have any information here. I think we should have here. In the last 6 months. So we don't have much details information here. I think maybe I can generate go more further to generate. Okay, now we can see we have maybe for the last 9 years. So I generate this information, and AD audit keep track for your data. It doesn't matter how long the data lives. So we can see the user admin is information, domain name, the activity login time 6 to 7 p.m. Then we can see the unusual activities of the admin. So AD audit user behavior analysis always track the behavior of entities. So entities could be file, could be computer, could be server, could be so many other stuff, and user. So that's why we call it user entity behavior analysis. It's one of the top cybersecurity features that our ADR auditors and a lot of cybersecurity companies are very happy with these features because it gives them real-time visibility of what is going on to analyze the normal behavior and the abnormal behavior of a user or entity. Also, you can also see the risk assessment, so it assesses the risk of a specific user, of a specific entity, and so on and so forth. Because of our time, I have taken so much of your time, which I apologize. I cannot take much of your time longer, so I would have to end this session here. But if you want to know more about these solutions, AD self-service, AD manager, AD audit, you can give us a call. You can contact my colleague Roman, and he will be available to assist you and to provide you with a proof of concept so you can test this solution by yourself and see how it works in your organization. The good news about this product that we just have a meeting about is that they all can also work as one unit, and that unit is called the AD 360. So the AD complete package, including AD audit, including AD manager plus, including AD self-service, M365 manager, and so many others. So it gives you that complete flexibility to manage your entire, not just Active Directory, not just cloud, but to manage your entire organization infrastructure. Because of our time, I will have to end this meeting here. Once again, I want to thank you very much for attending the meeting, and also I would like to one more time apologize for the technical issues. Thank you for attending the meeting. If you have more questions, you can add the question to the chat. I will be available in the chat to answer all questions. Thank you very much.